Uh, Good afternoon, everyone. I want to welcome you to Spring 2024 semester, and I also want to welcome you to my class. Of course, I'm actually going to be lecturer in charge of this course that we call Communication and Consultation in Statistics. What I'm going to be talking about today, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to have what I call a brief introduction about myself. From there, I'm going to talk about, expectation in this class, among other things. So, like I said, once again, you are welcome to my class. Okay, so this is start 4893 W. This is a little bit different from traditional statistics because what we're going to be doing here is actually to understand how we consult and how we communicate. Of course, communication is a skill, it's highly required before we can have what I call a very beautiful analysis. We are in which the results, we stand a test of time. We do research, we get results. It is not all recommendation from every research that can stand the test of time. And what is the reason why at times it look as if our modules are failing us? The reason why it look as if our modules are failing us, maybe we did not engage in what I call effective communication and consultation. And that is the essence of what we want to be learning here. Okay, so let me first introduce myself. This is me. And of course, I had my PhD in mathematical statistics. I specialize in the area of research, robust statistical modeling. I think I presented my PhD work in 2016, and of course, I had opportunity to also present the work at the University of Oxford in the United Kingdom. Has anybody heard about University of Oxford? Okay, so I defended my work. I have opportunity. I enjoyed a travel grant to present that work from Nigeria in 2015. I finally defended my PhD work in 2016 at the University of Ibadan, Nigeria. Has anybody heard about a country called Nigeria? Okay, Nigeria is in Africa. Okay, so I'm going to say 2024. This is going to be officially 12 years in teaching at this level. I started my teaching career officially, even though before 2012, I've been teaching, okay, but not official, but it became official in 2012. Of course, I started out my teaching career at the University of Ibadan. And of course, before relocated to the United States, in 2018, I joined the services of the School of Statistics, University of Minnesota. This is going to be my sixth year at this university, and I'm also an assistant director of undergraduate studies. So my office location is at 46465. And of course, my office hour is 10 to 12, But let me tell you this, I'm actually approachable in case if there is any student whose schedule is conflicting, you can actually reach out to me. Before I move on, I just like the question I normally ask from my student ever since I joined this university, because I was not born in the United States, is there anyone struggling with the way I talk? Is there anyone here struggling with the way I talk? Communication is the skill, is the key. Like, if I want to pass information, even though what makes a professor to be a highly recognized professor is the one who doesn't just have the knowledge, but also has ability to communicate. So I don't want it to look as if I'm making noise, you know. If you don't get what I'm saying, it's going to look as if I'm making noise. So I will need you to ask me question, tell me from time to time if I'm fast in my talking. Let me know if I'm very slow in my talking. Let me know. You know what I want to do? I want to be in the middle. I want to be statistical in talking. Okay. I'm going to try as much as possible. Okay. Now, um, let me come to the timeline. I want to believe you've all seen the syllabus, right? And assignment that is due. We actually divided the whole course into preparation, consulting, and independent research. Okay. So I will need you to actually to assess the canvas, week 1 to 3. We're going to be focusing on preparation. Okay. Then week 4 to 7, of course, is going to be on consulting projects. Of course, we know week 8 is going to be spring break. That's why it's not listed. Then week 5 to 15, the focus is going to be on independent research projects. And of course, we're going to have alumni of the university to come around. There's also parts of the program where they're going to share their experience with you. Okay. And, we got a lot of things to do. Okay. As far as, communication and consultation in statistics is concerned. But uh, is there anyone who need kind of clarification on what I just said, or anyone struggling with what I've said? Is there anyone? Okay, just like what I used to do. If I want to learn any topic, you need to ask yourself question. And there are 2 questions that you need to ask yourself. Number 1, because if you provide answers to those 2 questions, you will actually appreciate what you are learning. The very first question: why am I doing this? Why am I learning this course? Why, what am I going to gain from understanding how to communicate and how to consult in statistics? And why do I need that? Okay, I'm actually going to walk you through that. Number 2, what skills, okay, are required? I want to understand, like, I want to learn this course. Do I need some special skills? We believe that before coming to this course, you've already done some traditional courses in statistics where you have had opportunity to be exposed to statistical theory, or applied statistics and so on like that. And of course, you actually going to make use of the knowledge acquired before joining this class. So I'm going to say that the skills required is just you need to revisit what you've done before. Okay. Number 1 that I talk about, why am I doing this? Okay. Why am I doing this? I'm actually going to give you like 7 reasons why you will want to do what you want to do right now. Okay, so I'm actually going to start with the first one that I call defining objective together. Let me tell you this. There's nobody that lives in isolation. We need to work together to make the world a better place. Let me tell you this. Coming to this, we actually want to speak the mind of reality. Reality is a physical world, right? And we want to speak the mind of reality For us to be able to do that, we need model. Okay, so we actually, a model is a way of depicting reality. But let me tell you this, a model is not the same as reality. And that is why in statistics, we have the acknowledgement. We acknowledge the fact that model is not the same as reality. And that is the reason why we normally have errors. And our intention, if we want to evaluate a model, is to see if we have used a methodology that can minimize the error. Okay, we know that model is not the same as reality. Now, if I want to conduct research, okay, maybe I want to conduct, what is the essence of conducting research in the first place? Because we want to answer a particular question, okay? And, answering the question, we believe the world is going to be a better place. And we can't do it alone. I want to conduct research in maybe in healthcare now, okay? And maybe the essence of conducting research in the healthcare, what do I want to do? Oh, maybe I want to talk about diagnosis, or I want to talk about the probability of a patient having a disease, or I want to talk about treatment planning. If I want to do all of that, and I happen to be a statistician, okay, now I need to be able to collaborate with the experts in the area. I'm going to say that again. Before I can actually conduct research successfully in whatever area that I choose, okay, there must be collaboration, there must be consultation, okay, between statisticians and the stakeholders. The stakeholder, they actually understand the behavioral pattern of the variables. Okay, even though as statistician, what we can analyze, what we can talk about is just what came out of data. That's what I mean. But if we want to conduct research in whatever area, we need to consult, and we're going to derive our objective in conjunction with those who have expert knowledge of that area. And that is the reason why I said defining objectives together. Does that make sense? Okay, so working collaboratively, with the stakeholder, of course, we ensure an efficient data collection, way of data collection, the type of variables to be collected, among other things. Does that make sense to everyone? So it's good to, define, to work together. And when you collaborate, we're actually going to communicate. Okay? And that is the reason why communication and consultation actually go together. Okay, now another reason is data collection. Okay, like I said in the after defining objective, of course, data collection. Okay, the type of variables that we need in the research. The experts in the area understand. That's what I mean. So the role of the statistician, of course, is to ensure, because if you want to get good results, that actually starts from objective, okay, to data collection. Because if you are working with a wrong data, or you have incorrect variable, then we're actually going to mislead the world. We don't want a situation where we're going to mislead the world, not only misleading the world, wasting resources, because we're actually going to commit resources to research. Okay, so data collection is very, very important, and it's only when we work collaboratively with the stakeholders that can be guaranteed. Any question on that? Any question? Number 3, choice of statistical method. You know what? There are different kinds of methods that we can use in statistics. How do we ensure we use appropriate statistical methodology? Okay. Now, let me tell you this. The nature of nature of data determines the choice of statistical method. And that is the reason why we need to be able to understand our data. The relationship between statistician, researcher, and data is the same, I'm going to say synonymous with the relationship between a doctor and a patient. Before a doctor can actually treat a patient effectively, then the doctor must understand the patient. Statistician, researcher must also understand their data, because the moment they don't understand it, they're actually going to end up applying wrong methodology. The wrong methodology will lead to wrong results. Somebody's going to argue that with me. At times, they're going to say, okay, at times a wrong medication, wrong diagnosis could lead to right medication. It's going to look like this. I want to divide this. 64 divided by that, and I do this. That's a give me 4, right? But that's a wrong approach. This approach can never stand the test of time. Everybody knows 64 divided by 16 is going to be 4, but the method that I'm using here is wrong, even though it gives the results. But this kind of result can never stand the test of time. And that is the reason why the method that we use is very, very important. Does that make sense? And what determines that particular method, okay, that we're going to use is the nature of data. And let me also tell you this. Working with data, we need to be able to collaborate with the expert in the area, because the expert in the area actually understand, the kind of variables that we need in the research. Number 4 is what we call visualizations. In statistics, we talk about visualizations. We normally have a way to present our results, particularly when we are exploring our data. We call that exploratory data analysis, EDA. When we're trying to understand our data, we're trying to describe our data, trying to generate charts, okay, graphs, and so on like that. Okay, that it's just like when you are teaching elementary students, maybe you're teaching them math, they may not be interested. But when you try to make a draw, like, oh, that will attract them, right? When you are presenting statistical results, we want a situation whereby we're going to consider everybody in the world, like those who are educated and those who are not educated, and the way we're going to communicate results, it should be in a way that they're actually going to understand it the moment they see it. That is why, chart, graphs, we use that. So we actually use visualizations, and, that visualization is we're all going to have the same understanding about the interpretation of that, the stakeholders, the statisticians, and so on like that. Another thing that I'm going to talk about is ethical consideration, particularly in clinical trial, where you are using human beings. Like, there's something that we call ethical consideration. Okay, the stakeholders understand ethical consideration related to data. Okay, so I want to believe working together, okay, we'll be able to address that. Okay, then decision making. You know, we use the idea of hypothesis testing, we use the idea of p-values, we use the idea of confidence interval. Okay, how do we communicate this to stakeholders? Stakeholders, they have little knowledge of statistics. And that is the reason why stakeholders at times they consult statisticians. And when you present your results, you actually are going to explain to them some mechanisms you use in taking your decision, or understanding of p-values, understanding of confidence interval, understanding of how do we interpret this, how do we interpret that. Okay, because when we conduct analysis, it is not only for our consumption, it is for global consumption. And that is the reason why we should have an effective way to communicate. At times, the way we communicate statistics to those who are not in statistics look so ambiguous. We use ambiguous language. Because of that, we scare them away. We should avoid. Of course, in this course, you're actually going to learn how good to consult and how bad to consult. You're actually going to watch videos. As from time, as time goes on, I'm going to share some videos that you're going to watch. And of course, there's going to be an assignment where, of course, let me just announce this to you today. I need you to check announcement section. I'm actually going to I'm going to pair 2 students in this class randomly. And after watching video on how to consult, one person is going to serve as a client, another one is going to serve as a statistician. They're going to make a video, they're going to switch role, they're going to make another video. But that will be after you've already watched a video on how good to consult. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, and the last thing that I want to talk about is training opportunities. We're going to learn certain things from stakeholders, and stakeholder is also going to learn from us. And that is why, we normally offer what I call training section to enhance, we want a situation where the stakeholders, we have a statistical literacy. Because if you don't, they need a statistical literacy, for them to be able to understand how to interpret results. Okay, so we, in a way, we're actually going to learn from one another. And that was why I said the other time, our collaboration will actually enable us to improve on the quality of life. Nobody can be successful in isolation. The billionaires today, they are only successful because they got a lot of people working for them. Imagine them doing the whole thing, they may not be successful as they wish. Okay, so coming back to the timeline, of course, you can see what we're going to do week 1 to 3 is preparation. Week 4 to 7 is a consulting project. Then week 5 to 15, independent research project. I need you to of course, when you check the module on Canvas, I attach the syllabus and the comprehensive what we're going to be doing from time to time. In case you don't have access to that, I need you to send a message to me. Okay? Now, we want to go into consulting project now. Okay? In the consulting project, we're actually going to start with review project materials. Okay? Then from there, we're going to attend consulting meetings. There's going to be meetings. And in that very meetings, we're actually going to address stakeholders with respect. Okay? So we're going to attend consulting meetings. And not only that, after, when you attend consulting meetings and you actually understand what's the objective, of course, you're actually going to have a very, suitable data that we're going to collect, then that will facilitate correct analysis of data. Imagine we are analyzing inappropriate data. we're wasting our time. We don't want to do that. And that is why we need consultation in the first place. Does that make sense? Okay. Now analyze data. And after that, we're actually going to write a report. Okay. Now we also need to have a writing skills. You know, at times some people may understand how to do something, but how to write a report based on what they have done. That may be a problem. So part of this course is also to be able to learn how to be able to how to write very good reports. That's very, very important. Okay. Okay, so more details to come. Okay. Now, if you take a look at communicating to someone who is not a statistician but has training in quantitative analysis. Because have training in quantitative analysis, the person will have knowledge of recommending variables that matter. Okay? So that's what I mean. But let me also tell you this. At times we could work with those who actually do not have knowledge of quantitative analysis could consult. All what we just need to do is to listen to them the same way doctor is going to listen to patients. If a doctor doesn't listen to patient, it's going to end up in wrong medication. Okay? So we also need to put ourselves in a position of a physician. We should have a listening here. Now, independent research project. Okay? Communicating to a statistician or other senior statistics student, at times we collaborate within a particular field. In some of my papers, I collaborated with, I'm going to use this opportunity to, I remember my PhD supervisor, Professor Shido, he died January 4 this year. So I actually pray that may his soul rest in perfect peace. I remember we used to work together while in Africa, and then we actually generate and publish articles in reputable journal. You can actually collaborate with senior statistician. It's more or less like this guy is a musician, right? But he's not well known. But this guy is, I want to remember one of these American, maybe Puff Daddy or whatever. If this guy should feature this guy in a song, a lot of people may want to, you understand what I mean? That's what we mean by collaboration. But if this guy should go and sing alone, it may take a longer time before he could, people can recognize him. But if he feature highly, because he's also going to learn from that senior person or from the person who has the experience. I'm not saying that somebody that is starting now cannot still surpass those who are already in it. But I believe somebody that is just doing it will be able to learn, if not experience, from those who are already in it. Does that make sense? That's what I mean by communicating to a statistician or other senior statistics student. You can communicate, with yourself, and that's why there's going to be a project where you're going to work together. You're going to make a video. Okay. Now, research a topic in depth and present the findings in a written report. So take a look at that. Okay. You have to research in depth. It means you don't just look at it at the surface. You go deeper to be able to understand what data do I need to collect and so on like that. Then after analysis, then you write a beautiful report, and at times you make an oral presentations. Okay, so I'm going to encourage some of you, to attend workshop, attend conferences. I remember one of things that helped me when I was in Africa is attending conferences, I was able to gain a lot, from those who are already in it. Okay, so you may choose from a set of potential topic. Here you're going to work on a project where you're going to choose your topic, and it's going to be an independent research. Okay, and you can choose a product, a topic of your choice. And we also have a list, of topics, if you like, that you can. But it's going to start with, if you are ready. Okay, every research starts with a drafting proposal. Okay, so you're going to submit your proposal. Okay, then you're going to work on the project. When you are working on the project, we want to hear from you about the progress you are making. Does that make sense? When you submit a proposal, we're going to look at your proposal, and if it is approved, then we're going to say, okay, start your project. And we also expect to hear from you from time to time about, your progress. Okay. Now, another thing, then you write the report. There's going to be peer review. Peer review, like somebody in the class, they're going to look at your project, and it's also going to critique that. I like what I call constructive criticism. Okay. When I go out to conferences, okay, when I go out to conferences, I normally, this is what is good. We are experts in the field. They look at what you've done, and they're going to critique it constructively. We have constructive criticism. We also have destructive. Well, destructive is not good. If I criticize a work, then I'm actually going to provide direction. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, then the next is oral presentation. So I'm confirming that you're going to make an oral presentation in this class. Okay. Where we want to listen to you. Because when you find yourself in a society and you are working with companies, okay, and you are a statistician or analyst in the company, and of course you conducted research, or I want to believe you want to bring that to the notice of the of the workers, to tell them, okay, this is a new development. You're actually going to make a presentation. Okay, so just see the step right now. Then after that, we're going to ask you to submit your final report. Okay, when we are convinced with the oral presentation, okay, that's what we're going to do. Okay, now then I put some checkup meeting. Now, still on the independent research, we have potential topic proposed by us. You can, if you click on that, you're actually going to see. If you need data, I will advise that you go to Kaggle. Has anybody visited Kaggle website? Kaggle? Okay, Kaggle. Okay, they got a lot of data set. Okay. Okay, so if you choose to analyze this data set, you should not copy the analysis performed in the original paper. Let me tell you this. If some researchers have worked on a particular topic and you also want to do the same, okay, research can be coherent. It can be pragmatic. I'm going to write that. Research, could be correspondence. It can be coherent. It can be pragmatic. There is possibility that what they actually got in their, in the paper, you establish that using another approach, but don't copy their results. You conduct your independent research and see whether you're also going to have, you're going to get what they got. And there's possibility that what you get is different from what they got. Okay? Because we got some articles that are misleading. We are in the world to correct the mistakes of the past. And some people will still come tomorrow and correct the mistakes we made. Because we are not perfect, right? Then I think we got linked to data. You can also check Kaggle. Okay, and check Kaggle. How many more time do I have? Okay. So we also got some potential topics proposed by us. It is not it's not compulsory that you have to use our topic. Okay. You can use your own. You can decide to come up with your topic. So this is one of the topic consider now. Model the food waste process score with at least two different statistical method and compare the result. You know what I normally do, right? Uh, by let me just say by qualification, I think I have advanced knowledge of statistics and machine learning algorithm. So what I normally do is I like using more than one method, on the same problem. Then I'm going to compare result at the end of the day. So the moment results actually coincide, like, I'm actually going to say, yes, that is it. Okay. Now you can, you know, um, using your knowledge of regression and so on like that, at times you could have so many variables in the model. Okay. I remember when I was doing my capstone project in Nigeria, my bachelor project, I think I work on the effects of exchange rate, inflation rate, and consumer price index on the GDP of Nigeria. Of course, I use what I call multiple linear regression. Okay, now in a situation where you got so many variables, of course, we may not be able to tolerate all the variables in the model. They could be problematic to the model. Then we need to be thinking about how to use the idea of variable selection, stepwise regression, lasso regression, what is the other one? Ridge regression and so on like that. So I needed to revisit all of that. Okay. What is next? And like I said, if you want to select your own topic, that's no problem. And you may start with an advanced statistical method. Of course, I want to believe you've learned some method coming to this class. I will need you to revisit them. You may start with a complicated data set you're interested in. You can drill and wrangle the data with statistical tools and make a meaningful interpretation. Now, I think I'm going to go to the last slide. Okay. What if you have data on time series? You may want to look at the trend over time. Is it going to be increasing or decreasing? Okay, that's going to be time series. I want to find a suitable data where I want to talk about daily temperature in Minneapolis or wherever. Okay, why am I doing that? Because I actually want to forecast. Okay, using the past behavior and the current combination of the past and the current. I actually want to make projection about how it's going to be in the future. Okay, so take a look at another example. Oh my God, I like football. I like football. NFL football data. Okay, there's a lot to do with that. You want to predict outcome of a game based on a game statistics. If you want to make a prediction, of course, you need to look at a past antecedents. Okay, how many games have they played in the past? How many do they actually win? How many do they, stuff like that. Then you're going to have research questions. Then you can make a prediction. You can, if, that now depends whether you want to talk about prediction or you want to talk about classification. Okay. Classification. Oh, I want to consider the probability of Vikings winning. There are two states of nature. It's either Viking wins or lose. Okay. And based on what has happened in the past, can I have a prediction of Viking is going to play a game maybe next Saturday? What is the probability they're going to win? Of course, we're actually going to use a statistical method that has to do with the classification. If you want to seek redress in statistics, we can use logistic regression. In machine learning algorithm, we could talk about random forest, decision trees, and so on like that, KN neighbors and so on like that. There's a lot to talk about. Oh my God, that's going to be the end of this class. Is there any question for me today? Is there any question? Like I said, the greatest sin, one of the greatest sin in the whole world is when one deceives oneself. Okay, if you actually get stuck in my class, I need you to ask question. In the absence of that, make sure you all stay safe and have a lovely day. Bye for now, everyone.